Right, so the recording is started, and I would like to welcome you all to this information meeting about the Copenhagen swim. We will be covering quite a lot of topics this evening, most notably, let's see here, it's not working, just a second. Uh, Most notably, of course, all about the course and the swim. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I have a few colleagues attending this meeting also, and if I could ask you to sort of moderate, because I can see that I can't keep an eye on both the participants and the presentation. So Fleming and Dieter, if you could help me see if anybody has a raised hand, that would be great. But feel free to ask any questions during the presentation so that we can clear up any questions any of you might have. And that sort of takes us past the welcome part of the agenda. And just to introduce the Copenhagen swim to those of you who haven't participated before or just have done it a couple of times, we've been swimming in the canals since 2006. And in that period, more than 24,000 swimmers have taken part in our swim. It's open to all abilities, and you can swim solo or in teams of four. What makes it so special is that it's a unique experience to swim in the canals. They are usually closed to the public when it comes to swimming. There's boats going through the canals all the time, and that's why swimming is prohibited. It's simply too dangerous. But once a year, we get the canal for 24 hours, and that's for the Copenhagen swim. Um, in 2006, we started out with 250 swimmers. In 2022, we expanded with a Friday program and the first ever 10K canal swim. And last year, we had a record 180 10K swimmers, which is now, I think, what we would like to refer to as the standard number that we can accommodate. I'll get back to that, but we have no current plans of expanding the 10K swim beyond the 180 swimmers, simply because of the special properties of the swim. Now, in 2026, which will also be our 20th year, we look again at record-breaking numbers, and we might even pass the 5,500 swimmers in total during those 2 days. So we are looking forward to greeting you all in Copenhagen, both those of you traveling from around Denmark and those of you coming from abroad and all over Europe to do the swim. Now, this is a leisurely swim, what we like to call it. It's not a walk in the park because you are signed up for a 10K swim, but it will probably not be the fastest 10K any of you have ever swum. There will be 1,000 other swimmers in the water while you're swimming, and it will complicate your swim. And there are also bottlenecks on the route that can't be avoided. And all in all, that makes for an interesting swim, but not necessarily a fast swim. But apart from that, it'll be the safest 10K you've ever swum. You can get out. I mean, all along the route, there are lifeguards all along the route, and people looking out for you, and spectators cheering you on for every kilometer you swim. So it's an experience to be savored more than expecting to be a fast swim. So looking at the course of the Copenhagen swim, we're swimming in the canals around the Parliament building. Now, the Parliament building is the one labeled Christiansborg on the map, and the light blue dot saying start and mål is where you'll be jumping in the water. And once you've completed 5 laps, this is also where you'll be getting out of the water. The feeding zone is at the halfway point, and that's the dark blue circle right here, and that's the feeding station. And I'll be getting back to details about that a little later. Now, there are some bottlenecks on the swim. The first one is when you've started your swim and around the 500-meter mark, there is a narrowing where you need to pass along a 2-meter wide stretch of canal. And we cannot make this larger because there are ferry traffic going in the canal outside of our designated route, and there are safety distances that we need to take into consideration. So this is probably the most serious bottleneck on the swim. There are 2 meter. It's a 2-meter stretch, and normally it's okay. But once you've started and once you've completed your first lap, there will be other swimmers. You'll be swimming only 10K swimmers for the first lap. But once you've finished your first lap, you will see that we've started sending out the 2K swimmers. And if you're unlucky, or if the timing, depending on your timing, you might hit a wave of swimmers right after they've started. And that will, of course, generate some traffic that you cannot look past. So there is a bottleneck right here that is not to be avoided, really. And it's a bummer, but safety-wise, there's nothing we can do about it. The next bottleneck is around the feeding position. There's also a bridge here, and since you will also be heading for the feeding station, there might be some traffic here also. In our experience, the 10K swimmers will be spread evenly around the entire 2K route once you pass the first round or two. So there won't be too many 10K swimmers at a time fighting for the feeding zone. But when you start to use the feeding zone, that's also when the rest of the swimmers are going about their swim. So there will be a lot of swimmers right here, but this is the most natural place to put the feeding zone, and this is where we are able to do it with the least complications for you as swimmers. So that's something to be looking out for. The third bottleneck is a sharp turn right here. This is about what 1300 meters into the swim or into the lap, and the bottleneck here is basically because of the sharp turn. So this sharp turn will make most swimmers slow down notably, and depending on where you are in your swim and how many swimmers are around you, you will also experience some heavy traffic right here. The canal is a little bit more narrow going into this stretch down the other side of the canal here. It's a narrow stretch, but you should be able to navigate it once you've passed the sharp turn. The last bottleneck is right before you enter the finish line. There is also a bridge here, and the experience is that it's also a bottleneck. It tends to be anyway. And of course, the sharp turn right after, where you turn and you head for the finish area. That's also something. But there's plenty of room here, so it never feels as congested as the other places. So these are the bottlenecks to behold, most notably. And then, of course, right here, where you might hit a starting wave of swimmers and you might not. You are going on the outside of the swimmers, and most of them will seek the middle of the lane. So if you keep to the outside of the swimming lane, you will definitely face less traffic than if you head for the middle of the swimming lane. But there is also a lot of swimmers in the water right here at the starting point. Um, right. See? Oh, sorry. Okay. So these are all the notable points around the route. There are lifeguards all along, as you can see. The lifeguard, the red lifeguards are lifeguards on the water. The light red is lifeguards on land, and the yellow dots are people sort of keeping a lookout on the water, and they are in contact with the lifeguards, but they are not lifeguards themselves. The blue dots are exit points, and there are, as you can see, several exit points. I will point out that the exit points at the starting area and the exit point at the feeding station both features access to a toilet. So if you need to use a toilet, that's the two points I will recommend you to aim for. And I know that, if it's a pressing matter, it can be hard to reach either one of them in time, but those are the most obvious places. Um, there is, of course, also a medical tent and defibrillators along the route should the occasion arise. But well, luckily, we haven't needed to use them yet. Right, that was the route. Before I go on, I just want to ask, is there any questions? Okay, well, let's talk about the swim itself. Preparation-wise, you need to remember to pack a safety buoy or tow float, depending on what you call it. A tow float is mandatory, and the reason for that is twofold. One, there are not that many swimmers using a tow float uh, around Christiansborg, and that means that for the lifeguards and the lookouts, they'll have an easier time spotting 10K swimmers next to regular swimmers, which is something that we like to be able to. And also the tow floats or safety buoys have a pocket where we put your GPS tracker. Now you get right before starting the swim, you will be handed a personal GPS tracker. And the reason for that is, I mean, it's not a complicated route, but the GPS tracker makes sure that we know how many swimmers are in the water at any given time, 10K swimmers, that is. And we also have a fairly thorough picture of how many rounds you've taken and how far in your swim each of you are, which will give us an estimate of when all the 10K swimmers will be out of the water again. Now, the GPS tracker is not the same as your timing chip. These are two different things. So you will get a timing chip like any other swimmers in the water, but only the 10K swimmers get a GPS tracker. And that's also why you need a tow float to keep the GPS tracker. And then, of course, it's your own responsibility, but make sure that your gear is working or is in working condition. And from previous experience, we know that it might be a good idea to bring extra goggles. Now, the goggles you'll be able to put your goggles, for instance, either in the tow float or even better in your feeding box. So you know that you will be coming around to the feeding box and can get a spare pair of goggles if something is wrong. But that's a possibility. But I do recommend bringing an extra pair of goggles. Then there is the starting procedure. If this is yes,
we have a question, I think.
yep. Let's hear it.
We have Emilie.
Ja, jeg vil bare høre, om man får en altså man får en, eller man skal tage sin egen med.
Svømmebøje.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Emilia asks if you get your own, if you get a tow float, or if you need to bring your own, and you need to bring your own tow float. We don't have tow floats for all of you, so you need to bring your own tow float. Did that answer your question, Emilia?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so when it comes to the starting procedure, for those of you who've tried the Copenhagen swim before, you will know this, but it's the same for everybody. And for those of you that are new to this, then this is good information to have also. There is 60 swimmers in each heat, and we have 3 heats in total for the 10K swim. The start is in the water, which means that you will be called out to the water. You'll be asked to jump in the water, and then we have a starter who will make sure that you're somewhat aligned by the starting point, and then you'll be let go. And of course, I just want to mention that take care of each other when starting. This is a mass start, but if you're also a triathlete, you've probably started in worse mass starts than 60 swimmers. But we do have swimmers of all levels participating, also in the 10K, which means that some of you will be more experienced than others. So take care of each other during the start. When swimming, there is also a cutoff time. Now, the cutoff time is mostly in place because we know that we have to open up the canals for traffic again. And we want to be able to make sure that we know when the last swimmer is out of the water. And that means that the cutoff time is 4.5 hours. That doesn't mean that you need to be able to swim 10Ks in 4.5 hours. But what it means is that after 4.5 hours, 10K swimmers will no longer be able to pass along the starting point. All of you will have swum 6Ks already when this time has been reached. And that means that if any of you doesn't make the cutoff time, then you will only be able to swim 8K, but you will get an official 8K time. And this is to make sure that we don't interrupt traffic once we need to open the canal again. Last year, everybody made the cutoff time. So I'm fairly confident that this will be the case this year also. It's not a hard time to reach, but some of you will have to, go the extra mile for maybe the for the fourth round to make it. What to eat and when to eat it. We know that it can be hard to know exactly how the swim will go, but I can guarantee you that no matter the weather conditions, it will not be a rough, storming sea that you will be swimming in. It will be fairly calm. It might be raining. This is Denmark after all, but it will be fairly calm. And you have feeding possibilities after 1,000 meters, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, and 9,000 meters. So there is a lot of feeding possibilities, and of course, planning is king. So when you train, find out what you can stomach, so to speak, what goes well with your swimming, and how often you need to eat to keep your energy levels going. Now we will be offering fruit. Usually it's apples that we're getting. We have a sponsor for this. We will be offering drink, which is water, and some kind of electrolyte drink. Now, I can't be more specific at the time because it all depends on the final deals being landed with sponsors and suppliers. But there will be some kind of electrolyte drink for you 10K swimmers, and there will also be some kind of energy snack. And this is of course all good, but I know that a few of you will probably be used to certain kinds of energy gels or whatever, and I recommend that you also bring that so that you don't start out on completely new energy intake on the day of the swim. Yeah. Exactly. This is what I just said. Also, because you can better manage your energy intake when you know what your body needs. Right. The feeding station, which is 1 kilometer into the swim, is where your feeding material will be placed. Now, we will provide you with a feeding box, and that feeding box will have your individual start numbers on them. That feeding box will be delivered when you register for the swim. You put all that you can fit into the box. There's no rules. It just needs to be able to fit into that box, and it is delivered at the information tent when you register, and you also need to just bring it back to the information tent. We will make sure that the feeding boxes are all transported to the feeding station, and depending on your start number and your heat number, they will be placed in the wrong or in the right section of the feeding station. Now, feeding is supported by volunteers, and there are some handrails or ropes available that can keep you steady in the water, but there will be maybe a meter or something up to the feeding station. So your food will be handed down to you from above. There is colored beach flag on the right next to the feeding station, and swimmers in heat 1 should follow the orange feeding zone flag. Heat 2 should follow the green feeding zone flag, and heat 3 swimmers should follow the pink feeding zone flag. Now, none of you know what heat you're in yet. We don't know what heat you're in yet, but at some point you will get an email detailing your start number and how you should behave in when it comes to the feeding zone. I will also provide some photos from last year's feeding zone to make it possible for you to familiarize with the setting, so you know what to expect. And when it comes to the feeding zone volunteers, then it is possible for you to bring a feeding volunteer. And we actually encourage all interested friends and family members to become part of our feeding team. The last 2 years, we've had a feeding team with friends and families, which has been a great experience, both for us as organizers, but also that's at least what we feel we've learned from the feedback. It has also been a great experience for the friends and families, because some of you have friends and families coming anyway. Some of you are traveling with your spouse or a sister or a brother or a friend. And instead of going around in circles around the swim area for 4 hours, they can actually meet other people and participate in the event. And it's turned out to be something that some appreciate. Not all, of course, but some. Now, we don't have room for 180 feeding volunteers, of course, so it is not mandatory to bring a feeding volunteer, and all volunteers must be registered prior to our event and no later than when picking up a start number. And this is to give us a chance to make the feeding team efficient. We're not picky as to who gets to be on this feeding team, but we need to know that there's actually room for them. So this is the only reason for wanting this in advance, to make sure that there's room for all the feeding volunteers. And the only requirement is actually that the volunteers must be willing to meet others from all over Europe, and they must be willing to also assist in feeding all the other swimmers while swimming around and waiting for you to get back to your feeding box. So it's sort of an event in the event for all the friends and families. So please consider this. I will also include more info on this in the coming mails. Now, the finish procedure, in our experience, can be just as taxing as the starting procedure, because once you've reached the end of your swim, there will be a lot of other swimmers coming in to finish also. And because we need to get swimmers out of the water, and because out of the water also means up out of the water, we have 3 stairs. And we try to mark them. So there are 2 slow lanes and 1 fast lane. But from previous experience, not everybody sees this. So please be just as patient with the other swimmers that you were when starting. This also goes for the finishing. So plan ahead and expect to be delayed. This won't be more than a few seconds, but we know that a lot of swimmers are getting out of the water at the same time. So this is the last and final bottleneck is the finish procedure. So after the swim, please celebrate. Anyone participating in the Copenhagen swim and finishing even just 1 round did good. If you finished 5 rounds, you did really good. After your swim, enjoy it, take your time, and then you need to find the information tent, because you have a GPS tracker in your tow float, and we would like that GPS tracker back. You've also been promised an event hoodie, which of course will be waiting for you. But knowing from the first year we did this, we did last year also, and it worked out, well, it worked out great in the end. We got all the GPSs back, but the line to return it were way too long last year. So we will try a different procedure this year, and hopefully that will make sure that we don't create unnecessary bottlenecks once you've finished your swim. So hopefully it'll be a smooth transition from getting out of the water, celebrating, returning the GPS, and getting your event hoodie. From around 2:20 p.m., sometime around then, depending on the speed of the swimmers, but around 2:20 p.m., the feeding boxes will be returned to the information tent, and you can pick up any leftovers or any special bottles or whatever you've left, your spare goggles or whatever you've left in your feeding boxes. You're also welcome if you're finished fast and you have time. You're welcome to go down to the feeding station and pick it up yourself, but they will be returned to the information tent in the afternoon, and you can pick it up there. Right. Now, I am sort of done talking, and I will also stop sharing the screen. And so now you only get me. But now feel free to ask us anything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You can always email me. You have my email from the communication you've already received. But now is also a good time if you have any questions. Yes, Titus?
Hey,
Hey?
I was wondering about the feeding volunteers.
Mhm.
So are they supposed to be at the feeding station at all times, or like what are the rules here?
Well, no. The thing, well, if you have someone who might be interested in being part of the feeding team, then yes, they need to at least be around for your swim, and then it is our intention to be able to let people let the feeding volunteers go, so that we can time it with your last feeding, and then they can go and greet you at the finish area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we were just wondering because my girlfriend is interested, but she would also like to take some pictures and stuff like this, right? So
Okay, yeah. Uh, that dep- well, remind well, you can what you could do is just send me an email and let me know that she might be interested. And I mean, we're always nervous about how many want to volunteer. But last year we ended up with a large group of feeding volunteers. And if there is a large group, it's no problem for one of the volunteers to take a break and go out and take some pictures. Um, but
yeah,
it will, of course, depend on how many we end up with.
no, I think that's fine. I think that sounds
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
So, but it, just let me know about, and that goes for all of you. Let me know about any individual concerns you might have, because we aim to, take care of them and try to make it a good experience for all of you, and also for the family and friends that might want to volunteer. So we want to make it a good experience, and usually a lot of this can be made to happen as long as we can plan ahead. Right. So, any other questions? Yeah, Simon?
Yes, I have a question about the entry fee or the ticket. Is it a kind of way of transferring it or reselling if you
Yes.
unable to
Yeah.
attend, like injury or something like this?
Yes, there is. There is in the sports timing system where you bought your ticket. There should be a link for this. I don't know, Fleming, do you know how that works? Is it just a link in sports timing?
I can look it up, no problem.
Yeah, it is a link, but it's easier if you're a foreigner, not from Denmark with a Danish credit card. It's easier just to write to Copenhagen Swim, and Didish will take care of it.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
look it up, thank
so send us an email and we'll work it out. But it's no problem transferring it, and there is people in line for a ticket. So if you think you can't make it, it won't be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Annika?
Hi. Yeah, I was wondering, is there a place near the start finish where to leave like a towel or sandals or anything?
Yeah, good thing that you ask, because this is something I didn't cover because I know how the start works. What you actually do is once you register for the swim, and you get your feeding box and your timing chip and whatever, you also get a large see-through plastic bag with your start number on it. And the way we do it is actually we have a concierge service at the start and finish, which is the same place. So once you go to the start, you pack all your towels and your stuff in this plastic bag. You give it to the ones waiting in the starting area. They keep it for you. And when you've finished your swim, you present them with your starting number, and they find the bag for you again, and voila, there's your towel and your sandals and whatever.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So yes, no problem.
Great.
Emily?
Hey, I've registered along with a friend. Is there a way for us to kind of make sure we're in the same heat or kind of going at around the same time?
Yeah, I think we can manage that, but do send us an email so we know that we need to look out for that.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yeah, John?
Yeah, just a quick one on the feeding again. I'll probably swim with gels in my toe float. On the feeding stations, is there an area just to get water or the drinks rather than have the feed box?
Well, no, there really isn't any obvious place. I mean, because all the other places are sort of also available to the public, except for this feeding place area. So if you need to have drinks somewhere, I would still recommend the feeding zone.
Oh, sorry, no. Within the feeding zone, is there an area where you can just pick up the drinks? I don't need the feed box facility.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, the feed boxes. I mean, yeah, we will have drinks on there, but the feeding box system is the easiest way for us to manage it.
Okay.
But there will be drinks there. I mean, water and whatever. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Right. Other questions? Yes, Titus?
It's just maybe like a miscellaneous question, but what's the water like? Are there a lot of jellyfish around that time, or?
Yeah, well, there might be jellyfish because I mean it's a harbor, and so we are connected to the ocean. There have been years where we've been unlucky enough that jellyfish have been sort of spread across the canals, but I've been swimming it every year since it started myself. and I can't really remember any years where it has been a problem that was anything more than a small nuisance, really. But there will be a few jellyfish.
All right, so we don't need to be worried about like stinging jellyfish or something like this.
Well, I mean, there might be stinging jellyfish, but we only have the mild kind in Denmark. I mean, they are a nuisance, but they are the mild kind, and there will probably be a lot of harmless jellyfish, very clear jellyfish, and they are harmless, so you can't feel them. And the stinging jellyfish is a rare occurrence, but I can't guarantee there won't be any.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Right. Yeah. Last year there was no jellyfish. True. Didn't see anyone anyway. Other questions? Right. Well, then I think yeah, the expected water temperature. A good question. We've had 23 degrees and we've had 15 degrees. From past experience, the last, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fleming, but the last 4 or 5 swims, we've been close to 20 degrees and then one time at 23 degrees. So my guess is between 19 and 20 degrees. Yeah, Fleming says around 19. So that would be our guess, which is a nice temperature, not too cold and not too warm. It is salty, but it's very mild, I'd say. Nothing to worry about at all. It's the east coast of Denmark. It's only mildly salted because the yeah, I know the salt is good for floating and speed, but this is the east coast and the water is coming from the eastern sea and whatever. So it's really not that salty. Right. If there isn't any other questions, I will let you get on with your evening. You can all expect to receive a recording of this meeting and written notes so that you at least have the information ready when you need it. Thank you for your attention and please reach out if you have any questions. And then I'm looking forward to seeing you all in August. It'll be a great party.